Jujutsu Kaisen is finally back with its second season, and everyone seems to be super excited about the dreaded Shibuya arc. After a fantastic first season that introduced some of the most interesting villains while still maintaining the mystery of the plot, it is evident that the cursed spirit with the patched up face is going to play a great role in the story that is about to come. Yes, we're talking about the one and only Mahito, a villain whose actions are absolutely irredeemable, a villain we can never side with, a villain who does not have the necessarily sad villain origin story that helps us understand why he turned out to be so twisted. Mahito represents the dark side of humanity as someone who has no regard for life. Although humans are born in a world where they have to survive just like every other animal, what separates us from the rest of the animal kingdom is our shared empathy for one another and the philosophy of finding value in all human life. This is the very value that Mahito is so devoid of, and that is exactly what we're going to discuss in today's video while keeping you safe from manga spoilers. Before getting into the content, we'd like to make a very small request to our viewers. Please subscribe to our channel, like and comment on our videos, and press the bell icon to be notified whenever we upload new content. We'd be grateful to you, and we hope to bring you the best in nerdy content in the future. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. What are cursed spirits and how are they born? The darkness within humanity and the evil it births. Throughout the tales and folklore prevalent across all cultures, the word curse has always been represented in a negative light. Even in our reality, we always associate the term curse with something malicious. When you face a series of bad events, you think that you might be cursed. Someone uses offensive words against you, they're cursing at you. You've been betrayed and you feel terribly vengeful about them. You want to curse them. And cursed spirits are exactly what you assume they may be, as they are the physical manifestations of humanity's malice. These spirits manifest from a myriad of negative human emotions such as pain, jealousy, envy, hatred, fear, despair, and anger. Such emotions result in cursed energy emanating from humans, which subsequently gives rise to these hostile spirits. While Jujutsu sorcerers have higher levels of cursed energy within them, they also have control over it. Human beings do not. And with the sheer number of humans, their negative emotions accumulate to give birth to these spirits. As a result, densely populated cities are more prone to being home to cursed spirits compared to the more peaceful and sparsely populated countryside. Living in a city like Tokyo also comes with having to persevere in a highly competitive environment, which gives rise to people being more prone to having negative emotions. So not only are these cities the home base for such spirits, but more often than not, they're also the birthplace for curses. Other places prone to being hotspots for curses are schools and hospitals, because many people have unfortunate memories associated with such places. As beings born from malicious feelings, cursed spirits are harmful to humanity. They have been the cause for several disappearances and unexplained deaths across the Japan that we see in Jujutsu Kaisen. Jujutsu sorcerers exist to exorcise and terminate them, thus keeping humanity safe from this unusual race of spirits. Fortunately and unfortunately for humans, they are incapable of seeing both curses and cursed energy unless they are in an extreme situation where they can die. For example, during the pilot episode of Jujutsu Kaisen, Yuji's human friends from his school were able to see the cursed spirit that had appeared in the school building as a result of one of Sukuna's fingers being unsealed. Fear stemming in the human heart as a result of legends can also create cursed spirits. Cultures around the world have their respective folktales revolving around monsters, ghosts, and other spiritual beings that humans must fear. Humanity's collective negative emotions are directed towards such legends, which allows for the manifestation of more cursed spirits. The nature of these spirits also corresponds to the emotions that created them. For example, humanity's rampage against forests and the environment for the sake of urbanization created Hanami, who is a cursed spirit dedicated to eradicating humans from Earth as she wishes to protect the forests and the trees from humanity. In an unusual case, Yuta Okatsu's intense love for Rika-chan and his promise to marry her resulted in turning Rika into a cursed spirit after her accident, since Yuta could not accept the thought of her being dead. The stronger the emotions, the stronger the cursed spirit. In the Jujutsu Kaisen Zero movie, Gojo explained how love can be an emotion far more negative than hate itself, since it is love that can twist people the most. People can, and at times, do kill for love. It's an emotion that brings out your darkest nature, making you vengeful, obsessive, and murderous. Because Yuta is the descendant of one of Japan's 3 greatest vengeful spirits, his emotions alone turned Rika into a special grade cursed spirit. The average human, being average, cannot create a cursed spirit on their own, but with their numbers, their cumulative emotions can create special grade cursed spirits as well. Which brings us to the classifications and grades grades of these spirits. Each cursed spirit is divided into 3 broad categories, namely the vengeful cursed spirit, the imaginary vengeful cursed spirit, and the disease cursed spirit. Someone like Rika Orimoto is a vengeful cursed spirit. She used to be a human, but she was unintentionally turned into a powerful curse by Yuta. Imaginary cursed spirits are those who are born from the cumulative fear of the masses. And finally, disease cursed spirits are those that are born from humanity's detestment of plagues and widespread diseases. These curses can be subcategorized by their strength based on their grade levels. A grade 4 curse is the least powerful and can be exercised fairly easily. It is followed by the grade 3, grade 2, grade 1, and finally, the special grade curse. There are often semi-grade classifications in each grade depending on how powerful the curse is. A sorcerer should be a minimum of 1 level higher in their grade compared to the curse they are fighting in order to fight against them. It's not that they can't fight a cursed spirit in or above their own league, but the Jujutsu sorcerer formally assigned to fight a curse is almost always a grade higher. This ensures their victory in battle. While cursed spirits of lower grades are misshapen, unintelligent, and barely capable of speech, they can be more akin to humans when their grades are high. Special grade cursed spirits are generally bipedal and possess human-like intelligence, making them capable of working as groups, unionizing, scheming, and obviously holding conversations. The MVP of today's video is a special grade cursed spirit. Born from the hatred and animosity humans feel for one another, Mahito is exceptionally strong, intelligent, and evil. While we can occasionally feel for other curses such as Hanami, who wants to protect the forests, and the brothers Kechizu and Eso, who seem to genuinely love each other, the same cannot be said for Mahito. Mahito's introduction in Jujutsu Kaisen, how the twisted villain found his pawn in an impressionable young boy, and what makes him so dangerous. Mahito is a secondary antagonist in Jujutsu Kaisen who is an unregistered special grade cursed spirit. He appears in league with Suguro, Geto, Shogo, and Hanami from the very first season of Jujutsu Kaisen and hopes to eradicate humanity, Jujutsu sorcerers included, in order to replace the populace with cursed spirits. He also wishes to bring forth Sukuna's revival, tainting the world once again with the greatest and mightiest cursed spirit to ever exist. Being a special grade cursed spirit, Mahito has developed physical form that closely resembles the human body. He boasts long, bluish-gray hair, a face that looks like it has been stitched and put together in patches, and a human-like attire. However, he is invisible to the human eye and cannot be touched by them. He makes his first appearance at a beach where he doesn't seem to be too formidable. He is seen reading a book when Geto arrives. Soon, we get a glimpse of his true nature when he discusses with Geto their plan of sealing Gojo Sataro in Shibuya on October 31st. We see him again when he murders a few students at the movie theater. He sneaks up on them from behind and touches their faces, disfiguring them into monstrosities resembling low-level cursed spirits and subsequently killing them. These students also happen to be a bunch of delinquents who used to bully a boy named Junpei in their school. Surprisingly, Junpei was present in the movie theater at that time, and he was able to witness Mahito disfiguring and killing the boys. He chases after Mahito and catches up to them in a dingy alley. Mahito is surprised to learn that the human boy can see him, and as such, takes him under his wing when Junpei expresses his wish to be able to accomplish the same feats as Mahito himself. While Yuji learns of the world of curses from Gojo, Junpei, who is the only son of a single mother, finds his mentor in the evil Mahito. As he grows more and more aware of the misanthropy in Junpei's heart due to his trauma from being bullied, Mahito continues to fuel it for his personal advantage, all while pretending to care for Junpei. Simply put, he plays with Junpei's emotions and manipulates him to make him feel like he is finally being understood and that the only one who understands him is Mahito. As he tells the boy more about his nature as a cursed spirit, composer Hiroaki Tsutsumi brilliant score brims with ominous notes, creating an atmosphere of fear that lets you know just how evil Mahito is without him having to do something terrible. We do get to see a glimpse of Mahito's malice soon after when he shows Junpei a deformed structure similar to the corpses of the latter's school bullies. We are told that it has been created by Mahito, who wanted to see just how big humans can get. At the same time, he hands Junpei a similar structure, much smaller in size, as the physical example of how small humans can get. It is Mahito's twisted cursed technique of idle transformation that has allowed him to create such forms of humans. To put it simply, Mahito touches the human soul to alter its shape, design, and basically whatever else he wants to. He explains how humans do not have hearts. Instead, they have souls which metabolize to give birth to human emotions. Mahito is the only person in the world who can see and understand the structure of people's souls, which are seemingly not nearly as nuanced and impressive as people may think. It is something far more mechanical, much like the human body itself. During his fight against Nanami, Mahito dives deeper into how his technique works. He explains that while we may believe that the body encompasses the soul, it's actually quite the opposite. The soul being on the outside allows Mahito to touch it and alter it with his curse technique. And while altering the soul of a regular human being tends to kill them, Jujutsu sorcerers are likely to experience a different fate when they fall victim to Mahito's curse technique. This brings us back to Junpei, who has been wrapped around Mahito's fingers. He had continued to feed into Junpei's pessimistic and misanthropic attitude and convinced him to swap out his indifference towards humanity with hatred. He even altered Junpei using his curse technique and made him a Jujutsu sorcerer. This allowed Junpei to use a poisonous Shikigami called the Moon Dregs as his curse technique. Because of the murder at the movie theater, Kento Nanami was made to investigate the case alongside Yuji Itadori. While Nanami fought Mahito, Yuji went after Junpei to verify if the boy could see cursed energy or not. Yuji and Junpei meeting each other gives rise to a friendship between the two over their mutual interest in films. The theater incident is brought up as well, and Junpei covers for Mahito. He also claims that his ability to see cursed spirits is fairly recent. Soon after, they are approached by Junpei's mother, who invites Itadori over for dinner. The two new friends continue to bond, and after Yuji leaves, his philosophies about his reluctance to kill make Junpei question his motives, bringing him to the conclusion that he himself cannot take a life because such an act will taint his soul. That very night, Junpei's mother finds one of Sukuna's unsealed fingers on the table, which draws a curse towards her. Naturally, she is killed soon after, and Mahito comes over to Junpei's house. He partially hugs the boy to keep up his pretense of caring for him, while Junpei is devastated over how Sukuna's finger even found itself in his house. Mahito lies to him and shifts the blame on curse users who get paid to curse people. He narrows the possibility down to a person with money, will, power, and a hatred for Junpei and his mother. At a stage where Junpei's mind is far from working clearly, he begins to blame his school bully, Shota Ito. What Junpei doesn't know is that it was Mahito who had planted the cursed finger in Junpei's house, all because Yuji is Sukuna's vessel. Driven by the lust to avenge his mother and assert himself over the bullies who have made his life miserable, Junpei heads to his high school. He uses his curse technique to knock out the students in the assembly hall before poisoning Shota with his Shikigami's ability. He partially disintegrates his left arm, and blood wells up in the human boy's throat. He is not even given a chance to explain himself, but before he can be killed, Yuji Itadori comes in to stop Junpei. The two former friends engage in a fight where Yuji perseveres because he is immune to poison, as he is Sukuna's vessel. The two continue to engage in a dialogue as Yuji tries to reason with Junpei until the latter cracks and breaks down over his mother being presumably cursed by people. On hearing Junpei out, a heartbroken Yuji offers him a place at Jujutsu High, but unfortunately, there's no light at the end of this tunnel. Mahito appears on the stairwell and restrains Yuji. The latter asks Junpei to run away, but Junpei sticks up for Mahito as he tries to claim that he's not a bad person. But the moment he's about to say that, images of Mahito toying with human souls to see how big and small they can get flash into his mind. Junpei realizes that Mahito has been the problem all along. It was he who led his mother to her death by planting the cursed finger in his house. It was he who used Junpei like his little pawn. Unfortunately, it was too late. Mahito puts his hand on Junpei's shoulder and calls him out for being as stupid as the humans the latter used to look down upon. Right at that moment, he performs his cursed technique of idol transfiguration on Junpei, turning his body into that of a cursed spirit. To be fair, Junpei is of little importance to Mahito even as a pawn. He only uses him and transfigures him to create a situation where Yuji has no choice but to rely on Sukuna. The only person Mahito is interested in is the King of Curses himself. Everyone else is just fodder to him. As Mahito expected, Yuji asks for Sukuna's help to reverse Junpei's condition, but he's turned down. All Mahito wanted was to show how Sukuna would behave and whether he would treat Junpei or not. He doesn't get too many answers for his questions due to Sukuna flat out rejecting Yuji, but he finds his peace in taking his first step towards his long-term goal. However, the thought of having to heal Junpei soon becomes old news when the boy clutches his clothes and falls to his death. Mahito laughs because he finds it funny while Yuji is devastated. The situation is aggravated by the fact that Mahito jokingly mentions how he had transfigured Junpei a little too violently, which becomes the catalyst in sowing the seeds for the birth of Mahito's greatest opponent. Mahito's abilities and the chink in his otherwise invincible armor. We already have an overview of how Mahito's curse technique works, but it wouldn't hurt to get into some detail about it. For starters, he's an unregistered special grade curse spirit with power levels akin to that of 3 Sukuna fingers. His high intelligence also makes him capable of evolving and getting stronger amidst a battle. He has great physical strength, speed, reflexes, and durability. His ability to transfigure his own soul is the one thing that makes him one of the hardest nuts to crack. Mahito can use this ability to heal himself, alter his physical form, and evade fights, which he does following his 2 versus 1 battle against Yuji and Nanami. He can even transfigure parts of his body to create weapons. He has immense reserves of cursed energy at his disposal. He can continue to use his curse technique without having to worry about its depletion. The one thing that does manage to exhaust Mahito's reserves would be his domain expansion. This is a high-level curse technique that can be performed by both cursed spirits as well as Jujutsu sorcerers. It allows the user to create a domain where their cursed energies are magnified, their attacks are a guaranteed hit, and their opponent is at an overwhelming disadvantage. The only way to come out of it is by the opponent creating their own domain that is stronger than the first domain, or by having someone else break the domain from the outside. In the case of Mahito's domain expansion, which is known as the self-embodiment of perfection, he creates an environment where he is connected with the soul of the person locked inside the domain. He can transfigure them whenever without having to touch them. It only takes his willpower to do so. When he had trapped Nanami within his domain following his battle against the corporate sorcerer and Yuji Itadori, Nanami was sure that he was toast. It wasn't until Yuji broke the barrier from the outside and entered it that Mahito finally lost. Previously, he had tried to transfigure Yuji, but because the latter is home to 2 souls, the act angered Sukuna. When Yuji stepped into Mahito's barrier, the latter unwillingly touched Sukuna's soul again, which made Sukuna take Mahito out, forcing him to retreat. The dynamic between Mahito and Yuji, and how the two mirror one another. In Jujutsu Kaisen 0, we learn that Suguru Geto hates humanity. He believes that they are less evolved compared to cursed spirits and Jujutsu sorcerers, and refers to them as monkeys. However, the Jujutsu sorcerers oppose Geto, which makes them his foes. What Suguru Geto wants is a world without these monkeys or those who oppose his ideas. A world where curses can be free. A world where only curses will exist. For this, he wants to aid Sukuna's return, and his goal is supported by cursed spirits such as Mahito. Throughout all of Geto's plans, the terrifyingly evil Mahito continues to be a key player. They know that as long as Gojo Satoru is present, it is impossible for the curses to succeed, and considering Gojo's power levels, no one can kill them. This leaves only one option, and that is to seal Gojo. As we've mentioned before, Geto considers Mahito to be one of the most important allies in his plan of sealing Gojo in Shibuya on October 31st. Meanwhile, Gojo's key player in this game is Yuji Itadori, who has lived his life as a normal human for 15 years before becoming Sukuna's vessel. His ability to consume Sukuna's cursed fingers and suppress the Demon King's personality without allowing it to take over tells us that Yuji is an extremely special boy. With a body that hosts 2 souls, Yuji is Mahito's natural enemy. Mahito simply cannot disfigure Yuji's soul because of Sukuna's presence in his body. Meanwhile, Yuji's unusual condition allows him to be the only one who can wound Mahito. So far, Mahito believed that he was the only one who could perceive the contours of a person's soul. But when against Itadori, he stands against the one person who can perceive the contours of his soul. The two of them are flip sides of the same coin. Yuji is a guy who is willing to save people without a second thought. When he begs Sukuna to heal Junpei, he almost sacrifices himself as he claims that he will do and give Sukuna anything in exchange. On the flip side, Mahito is a sadistic and unempathetic being who kills people without a second thought. He finds it funny when Junpei dies. During his subsequent fight with Nanami and Yuji, he weaponizes 3 transfigured babies and sends them at Yuji, who is left with no choice but to kill them. In a way, Mahito makes Yuji do the one thing he stands against. While Mahito kills people without much reason, Yuji believes that if he ever crosses the threshold where he takes a life, the value of life will become ambiguous to him. It may inadvertently make him not know the true value of the lives of the people he loves. More than anything, he wants people to die a good death, so much so that he does not believe in killing an evil sorcerer either. But Mahito allows his character to gain momentum, and it all begins with Junpei's death. Witnessing Junpei dying while the boy questioned why this had to happen, witnessing Mahito laughing at it, hearing Sukuna refuse to help him, and a mental image of both curses mocking him flips a switch in Itadori. He comes to the conclusion that these beings that stand in front of him are nothing but evil curses. Yuji goes on to believe that because of their nature, their lives do not matter, and it finally shows us an Itadori who is willing to kill out of hatred, out of vengeance, and out of anger, and the one he wants to kill kill is Mahito himself. Marvelous verdict. There are a lot of things that make Mahito terrifying, starting from his nature as a cursed spirit born from humanity's hatred of one another to someone whose entire gig is to distort souls. Every time he comes on screen, you know that things are about to get intense beyond repair. And yet, the one thing that makes his existence the most terrifying is how his character and nature are not unrealistic. Villains who wish to conquer the world or commit mass genocide do not instill the same fear in us because there is nothing relatable in them for the average person. However, it is normal for humans to have misanthropic worldviews when they are forcefully put in bad positions. It is not unusual for such people to find solace in what Mahito preaches, and the sheer realism of this is what makes him one of the best villains in shonen anime. With that, today's video comes to an end. What did you think of Mahito? Did you enjoy this video? If so, then don't forget to like and comment down below. Until next time, thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and have a marvelous day.